Hi, Dr Natalie here from Dr GoFigure, and this week's podcast on YouTube is all about attitude is everything. This podcast is all about attitude. I strongly believe that attitude is everything. If you have a good attitude, just think back of times when you were in the flow, life was great, things were happening for you, you were generally just really happy about life. Think about how you felt and think about the kind of energy that you were giving off in those moments. Now think about how other times you can be frustrated, fed up, angry, nothing's going your way, and think about where your energy lies in those moments and what your attitude is like. Now, I understand how extremely difficult it can be when things aren't going your way to suddenly sort of click over and think, no, I've got to be thinking differently, I've got to be more positive, I've got to have a better attitude. It's really tough. But it's in those moments when you can dig deep, recognise that your attitude is off and move it towards being more positive, that actually things will start moving again in your direction in the way that you want them to flow, so that things will start coming back to you in a way that is much more positive. Honestly, positivity is going to attract a load more positive energy than you being negative and grumpy in a room. I know you've been there. You've walked into a room and there's somebody that's in a foul mood, or maybe somebody's just had a huge argument. Maybe they've stopped talking, but you know something's happened because it feels off and it feels weird and it feels funny and nobody's even said a word to you. And that's what energy is all about, and that's what positive energy is about. So if you come in and you are that beacon of light, you are that shining example of happiness, you change the energy in a room when you come in and you show up and you are positive. But guess what? If you being positive means that other people are going to be lifted and positive around you, that is only a net benefit to you. I honestly think that being positive is something that you have to work on. There's somebody that I used to listen to called Dean Graziosi. He's this amazing American marketeer. And he has a phrase that living a hard life is easy, but living an easy life is hard. And I totally bought into this concept because honestly, if you want your life to be amazing and brilliant, you want to lose the weight, you want to keep it off, you want your energy to be better, it really does take a lot of focus and dedication. But when you put your focus and dedication on improving things in your life, they will improve. And so you see people, okay, Wimbledon's just been on, so we've just seen Djokovic win Wimbledon for I don't know how many times he's won it. He's almost unbeatable, but what you see is him winning and he's living this amazing rock star life, and I bet he's going to go on some fabulous yacht around the world somewhere. He just can do whatever he wants to do, but he can only do whatever he wants to do because he had to work so hard in the beginning, and he still works hard. Winning Wimbledon is no easy feat. Djokovic wins it because he still works hard. But because he works hard, he gets this amazing, insane life to live. And that's what Dean Graziosi means. If you want to live this bigger life, you have to put the work in. And it seems really weird and contradictory, but being positive is actually something you do have to focus on. It's not going to come naturally to us, especially if you think about what modern life is all about. It's almost a bombardment of material, and oftentimes quite negative material. Think about probably what you looked at on your phone this morning, on your news feed. Your news feed is never full of happy, positive, lovely information. At the moment, it really is, not at the moment, all the time. There's always something awful happened and some tragedy, or, the global events of the world are, doom and gloom. It's really difficult to actually maintain positivity when that is what you're looking at all the time. And then if that's what your conversations are going to be about with everybody else when you get to work, oh my gosh, did you see the news? Isn't it awful? Did you see that? All of your energy, the whole of your workplace energy just starts coming down and getting more negative. When I realised this, and it was actually during the pandemic, I remember watching the news and it was really terrifying. And partly it was terrifying because it was almost like a clicker in the corner of the news, literally ticking upwards with all the people that were losing their lives to COVID. And I watched it and I just thought, this is terrible for my mental health. We've all been locked down, we can't go out, nobody's living their normal life anymore, and now all we're getting to see is just how drastic and dreadful it is outside. And I decided, I think it must have been 3 days into the pandemic, enough already. I am not living my life like this. I am not being fed this kind of news. It isn't serving me in the slightest. So I decided to switch off from the news and decided to basically fill my mind with way more positive information. So for me, I do not start the day listening to the news or watching TV or reading it on my news feed. I honestly start the day with a cup of tea, and then I go back to bed and I sit and I write in my journal, and I write all of the things that I want to achieve today, or the week, or the year, or the next 10 years. It's a really positive moment of my day. So I'll have my own personal goals. You know, maybe today I need to be on sparkling form for podcasting. But you know, this week we'll have got targets to meet, and in the next 6 months there's certain things I want to have achieved myself, you know, personally and professionally. And it's really important that actually every single day you are keeping the focus on what it is that you're trying to achieve, because it is so easy for our focus to stray. I know for a fact I've had hopes and dreams and aspirations that just I never managed to get there, or I haven't got them yet. And it's partly because you start off and then you get busy and life is so hectic and you forget. You're like, oh goodness, of course, I wanted to go on that ranch holiday with the kids. I forgot about that. It is so easy to forget all of the stuff that you actually want to do. So having a daily reminder of the important stuff is really, really important. And then I'm going to steal somebody else's quote because I have no idea who said it. But if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You know, I know you've all heard it a million times, but it's true. If we just meander through life and just sort of get battered this way and pushed that way and barged out of the way on something else, we're not really going to get to our destination, because we don't really know what the destination is. And as simple as it sounds to just write in your journal every single day, that's really important, because it just keeps your mind focused, and it keeps your mind focused on your immediate things that you want to do, but it keeps your mind focused on the bigger picture, the things that you really want to achieve in life. So the other thing that I do in my journal every single morning, apart from writing down my goals, which by the way should be great fun. This is something where you can really just let yourself free. What is it you really want to achieve in life? And even if it doesn't feel like it's very achievable at this moment in time, I'd still write it down. At some point your brain's going to get used to the idea that you are going to have that helicopter, or you are going to go on that dream holiday, or you are going to buy that fancy car, or whatever it is that you really want to do. At some point your brain's going to start accepting that as something that is actually going to be happening for you, and these things will happen if you write them down or focus on them and work towards them, but they're never going to happen if you don't write it down. So actually writing down your goals should be something of huge fun and a moment of enjoyment, you know, to get you started in the day. And then the other thing that I love to do is write my affirmations. So sometimes you do have to fake it to make it, especially with your mindset. So we're talking about weight loss and getting healthy. So if you're somebody that is struggling with trying to lose weight, then your affirmations should be things like, I am healthy, I am a great weight, my body is fit and strong, I lose weight quickly and easily. These are the kind of things that you should be writing down in your journal. They may not be how you feel right now today, but it's something that actually you need to start feeling in order for these things to happen for you. Now, I realise that when it comes to mindset, there's all kinds of different theories about it, and some people may not appreciate any of what I'm saying right now. The idea that you can fake it to make it with your mind doesn't make any sense. But the reality is that actually the life I live and my reality is completely different from probably my husband's, even though we actually live a very similar life. We live in the same house, we raise the same children, we eat the same food. But in actual fact, if you asked me to describe my life and you asked him to describe his life, you'd get two totally different versions of the same life. Okay, not the same life, we've got different lives, obviously. But you'd be like, really? You two share a house together? That doesn't make any sense, because he's told me that and you've told me that. And it's actually because your reality as you see it is really just your brain's perception of what you choose to see. Now, if you choose to see all the negative rubbish in life, oh my goodness, have you heard about the this going on and the that going on and the this going on in the world? Then that's your focus, that's your perception. Your brain's going to be starting to looking for more bad news, because that's what it's doing. But if you're somebody that's decided that you are actually living this epic, monumentous, fabulous life, that dream holiday's on its way to you, you are going to, next year you are going to go down to 4 days a week or whatever it is, then honestly, that's how it works. You have to understand that the life that you're living is only one that you have perceived and dreamed about. And if you're not living your dreamed life, then you're going to have to think more about what you're putting into your head. What are your dreams? And really start focusing on those, because that's the life you want to lead. It's really hard to get your head around, and it's very easy to be cynical about it. But when you do start to get your head around it, it does actually make sense. I hope I haven't lost you all and you think I'm nuts. I am actually a fully qualified medical doctor, and this is probably not what you get from your NHS GP, but hey ho. Okay, so this is quite a controversial concept, but some people in your inner circle really might not be your greatest cheerleaders. We tend to find that we will congregate with people who are quite like-minded, which is really positive if you are, if somebody on your upward journey and you've got an amazing group of people around you who are also on an upward journey, and ideally they're further ahead than you. But if you're in a situation, and maybe you've just found this, that your friends and your family, you've all got quite comfortable together, but now you want to change. Now you feel like there's more to your life than, maybe being overweight, being unhealthy. This is the time now when you're going to take matters into your own hands and move forward. It's great if you have got incredibly supportive people around you, but what you might find is that actually it's threatening behaviour to them. They're really comfortable with where you all are as a group, and they don't want you to change, because if you change, it kind of turns the spotlight a little bit on them, and they might not feel very comfortable with that. So you might find for a time being that it's time to slightly just untether yourself from some of the people that you are around, because they might not have your growth journey in their hearts. It's something that's going to make them feel uncomfortable, and it's something that they might try and just hold you back on. This happens all the time, and you just have to look around your circle of friends and your family, and if you're talking about, I'm going to lose this weight and I'm going to build muscle and I'm going to be in a size 12 dress or a size 34 trouser in the next 6 months, and your partner or your family are looking at you quizzically because they don't want to stop eating maybe the food that's not so healthy, or drinking on a Friday night, they might not have that journey in their minds too. So there can certainly be a fair degree of sabotage in and amongst the people that you should be counting on the most to help you with your weight loss journey. So sometimes you do have to make some quite tough decisions, and I'm not saying, by the way, just blow up your whole support system and your family and they're not going to help me, therefore I'm not interested. Not at all, but just appreciate that some people are not going to be fully on your side for your journey, and that sometimes it's best maybe not to talk to people like that, because you're not going to get the best side of them and they're not going to be your biggest cheerleader. But if you're not necessarily going to be counting on your inner circle of friends, well, then now is the time to look for a different support group while you are on your weight loss journey. Find people who are like-minded. Find people who also believe that they're going to be losing the weight and gaining muscle and getting fitter and stronger, and start hanging out with those people, because that's how we change and develop, and that's how we become our bigger and better selves. It's not by hanging out with the people you've always hung out with, because that's where you are today. And if you don't change anything from where you are today, then how are you going to be your bigger, better self in a year's time, or 6 months' time, or whenever you've given yourself a deadline for? There's so much fundamental change that has to happen when we want to change ourselves. And some of it's not easy. But actually, you know what? Finding some new people to hang out with who've got the same dreams as you is actually incredibly rewarding. And this is where we get a lot of growth from. So if you're not going to be listening to the news anymore, what are you going to do instead? Oh my goodness, there is so much fabulous content out in the world that's really positive and empowering. You know, I love listening to podcasts, and you can literally listen to a podcast on anything that you're interested in. But, you know, I like listening to podcasts. I like having really positive books around me. I'll end every evening reading a book, but that's something that I find inspiring or empowering, you know, something that's kind of food for thought and interesting. But I definitely am avoiding the negative and depressing content matter that actually I don't need anywhere near my mind. Other things that you can think about are, you know, trying new things. If you're on a weight loss journey and you're thinking about how am I going to get some different exercise into my life, what about joining different sports clubs or finding people to walk with? Or there's so many opportunities out there for you to actually grow and develop and become somebody bigger and better than you are today. And I do believe that's our journey. I believe that is the human's journey on this earth, that you start in one place, and we all have our trials and tribulations, and we're all going to have stuff that hurts, but it's actually learning how to deal with it and becoming the bigger and stronger and better person and moving through it, because that's what growth is all about, and it's a wonderful journey. So I hope that you found something important or useful in here, even just one thing. Now, as you know, at the end of every single episode, I like to give you a little piece of homework. So guess what the homework is? No news, and fill your head with positive vibes, and basically check in with yourself regularly. Actually, how am I feeling? Am I being positive? Did I just say something a bit negative there? Oops, I watched that news article, it's made me feel rubbish. How am I going to get myself to feel back up again? It's things like this. It's just being much more aware of your state throughout the day. So have a little check-in once or twice a day to start with, and as you get used to it, you will be checking in more frequently with yourself. So that is this episode. Hope you've really enjoyed it. Hope you found something interesting to think about. So until next week, have a very happy and healthy week. Thanks for watching or listening to us today. If you like what you've seen or heard, then remember to like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on social media. We would love to have you along.